Hi guys, welcome back. Is your vehicle roadworthy? That is the question today. There's no sense of making more videos about driving and rules of the road if we cannot even drive. So we're going to make sure our vehicle's roadworthy today. That's the whole point. And we're going to be talking about lights, tires and brakes, fluids, window obstructions, and last but not least, cleanliness. Okay, let's begin. Let's talk about lights, okay? Now we got headlights. Make sure your headlights are both working, obviously. That's easy to do. And also make sure they're pointed straight ahead. Now you'll be able to see this when you kind of test it out. Like if you're parked in front of your garage door, you'll be able to see if your lights are kind of shooting up or down. So that's how you test it. Now, if your lights are shining down too much, you're going to really light up the road by your bumper. And you might see a lot of rocks, but you're not going to see anything driving. So that's not good. And if your lights are pointing too high, you're going to see a lot. You're going to see very far ahead, but you're going to irritate a lot of motorists. They're going to be flashing their high beams at you. And they're going to be honking. You might blind them. They might crash into you. Just not a good thing. So no high beams pointed, or no lights pointed up. No coon hunting here, okay? Now, turn signals. Make sure both turn signals work. The front and the back on both. Make sure those are working. That's good safety. That's obvious. All right. Brake lights. Make sure your tail lights are working. Those are the two red lights in the back. They should be on. Those are your tail lights. Now your brake lights get brighter. It's a separate, when you hit the brakes, that red light goes bright red when you hit the brakes. If you have to have somebody else in the back of your vehicle to check while you hit the brakes, do that. Set a weight or a big rock on your brake pedal. Get out and go look yourself. Make sure your brake lights are working, all right? All right. Now, last but not least on the lights, license plate lights. These license plate lights are only on the rear of your vehicle. There's none on the front. Some states require, like Illinois, require a plate on the front, but you're only required the lights on the back. Most vehicles and most newer vehicles have two lights. Make sure they're both working. If only one is working, that's not good. You will get pulled over. You need both of them working. And some vehicles only have one little bit bigger light in the middle. Make sure that's working if you only have one. So that's good on the lights, all right? Now let's talk about tires and brakes. Tires, make sure they're somewhat new. Make sure they're not rotting and cracking on the sidewalls. That means they're old. A lot of tires now have the year on the tire. Might want to check the year if you don't remember when you got them. Check the tread. Make sure there's enough tread. There's a way to check. Look it up. It's using a Lincoln or a penny. And you go by Lincoln's head. You stick it in the tread. And if you could see his head or you can't see his head, you need new tires. You have to look that up. Just a visual. You can kind of check a visual. The tread is the depth in each of the. So if you kind of look and it just runs smooth, that's not enough. But if you got some big crevices, then you probably have enough tread if they're fairly new. Just make sure they're in decent shape. They don't have to be perfect. Tires can get a lot of miles and they can last a long time. In fact, I know someone that has a 12-year-old vehicle with original tires. And I believe 75,000 miles on those tires and vehicle. You couldn't even tell. I looked. You can't even tell that they're 12 years old. It still has tread. There's no wear. There's no cracks. There's no nothing. 12 years and 70,000 miles. And I believe he replaced them just out of safety. He didn't need to replace them, but just because they're so old. Tires usually go by age and not miles. So usually 4 to 5 years, replace your tires, all right? And we got that. And then also with the tires, make sure not only they have good tread, But check the air pressure. Now, I recommend getting one of these little tire air pressure gauges. It's only $10, like at AutoZone. It works really good. I wouldn't spend any more on the expensive ones because I've heard those aren't very reliable. I heard the cheaper ones are better. Just go ahead and get one of these. Personally, I never check the air pressure. I have it just in case, but personally, I check the air pressure just visually. I look at them. I've got 33 years experience, so I could tell, just me, I wouldn't recommend this, but just me, I could tell from the outside if it's too flat or it's too round and too full. You could also kind of feel how rigid the bumps are. But just use the air gauge. Look up your manufacturer's recommendations in the book or on the inside of your driver's door for the air pressure, for the right air pressure, okay? All right, let's go to brakes. Make sure your brakes are stopping. If they're stopping okay, they're probably good. Make sure there's no squealing and screeching. If there's squealing and noises when you're hitting the brakes, that means you need new pads and or rotors. There's something called feelers, and when the pad gets low enough, those feelers start squeaking to let you know that it's about time for brakes. Now, if you keep waiting and you hear a squealing, screeching, not when you're stopping, but just driving, and you hear that, that means you're really, really overdue. Go get some brakes or do it yourself. Make sure your brakes are in good working order. All right, let's talk about fluids now. Okay, now, I shouldn't have to say this, but I do have to say this. Check your oil and make sure the oil is full. Because believe it or not, I'm finding out there's a lot of people, especially women, that don't realize you have to change your oil. Because they spend $45,000 on a vehicle and they're like, okay, everything's good. I'll just bring it in every 2 years for maintenance and some stuff. They don't realize you have to check the oil. So you do have to check the oil. Make sure it's full. And then you want to make sure how old it is. If it's clear and barely you can see it, like clear and watery and light colored, it's new, it's good shape. If it's really black and thick, it's time for an oil change because it will destroy your engine if you leave it in there too long. Change your oil, keep it running so you can keep coming back here for some more advice, all right? Now your coolant, which is in your radiator in the front of your car, you gotta like push down on the cap and turn it. Take off that cap. Now it should be full. Your radiator should be all the way full. You shouldn't have to look down with the flashlight to see the line. That means you're way too low. It should be all the way full. There's also an overflow. Follow the hose. There's an overflow container. There's 2 lines on it. There's one on the bottom of the container. There's one near the top. The bottom line is for the cold. After everything's cold, your overflow should be about there. The one on top is the hot level. Like if you just get back from somewhere, the engine's nice and hot, you turn it off, you lift up the hood, and you look at the overflow. It should be around the hot line, or at least close. If your vehicle's hot and there's absolutely nothing in the overflow, chances are your radiator is low. Check that. So make sure your radiator's full and you're going to be good to go. Now, I'd also like to mention, in the old days and the older vehicles, the antifreeze, the coolant, was green. You've all seen the green. You all know about the green antifreeze. Now they have something new. I don't know exactly why. I don't know if it's more efficient or it lasts longer. I don't know. But it's kind of like an orange, almost a pink, but I'm going to say it's like an orange, a light orange colored. I prefer the green. Right now my vehicle has the orange, and so far so good. So also keep that in mind. Now check your transmission fluid. You want to check this while the car is running with the dipstick, just like you check the oil. Usually there's no problems. I've never had to add transmission fluid in any vehicle, but you might want to check it. In fact, I should check mine. I'll probably do that tomorrow. All right, now The last but not the least is the brake fluid and the power steering fluid. Now, it's not as crucial because you'll know if you don't have power steering fluid, you'll know because it is hard to turn that wheel. Thank you for the manufacturers for making power steering, because if we didn't have it, we wouldn't even want to go to the store. It is not fun. So your power steering fluid, it should be good. I don't remember what color. Your brake fluid's kind of like a black looking color. It's in its own container more towards the cabin. I've never had to fill power steering fluid once. I've had about 30 cars. I've had to fill brake fluid one time on one vehicle, but usually you don't have to fill either. They should be fine, but just take a quick glance. And then once you do all that, you're pretty much roadworthy, all right? You're ready to go. But I would like to talk about number 4 over here, and that is window obstructions, all right? So, no stickers or decals on the rear windows or the back windows, okay? I know people like to they have 4 people in the house, a lady, a man, and 2 kids, and then they even put a dog. You're already starting to obstruct your view. And then you're going to add another one on the other side saying POW or some kind of sticker like that. Now you got 2 stickers on your rear window, maybe a third one up here. You're obstructing your view. That's a safety. You're not going to drive as good. You're not going to drive as relaxed. And I believe it's illegal. It's obstructing the window. You can get pulled over for that. You don't want to get pulled over. You want to have a nice trip. You want to have a nice vacation, all right? Also, no stuffed animals on the dashboard. No stuffed animals, no stuffed bears on the back by your rear window on that back shelf. Don't put them next to the windows where you're obstructing the view. Once again, you're obstructing your view. I mean, you might not think it does that much, but you could be missing a whole big rock in the road that's right behind that stuffed bear. You don't really know. You need to see everything, as much as you can see, to have a good, relaxed, fun trip, all right? So no stuffed animals. And number 1, it's my biggest pet peeve, all right? 98% of people get this wrong. And that is your air freshener hanging from the rear view mirror. Please don't hang it from the rear view mirror. That's obstructing your windshield. It's illegal. You can get pulled over. You probably won't. But if they want to pull you over, they can. And it's, like I said, it's obstruction, and then it's swinging, and some people have like necklaces and big beady necklaces and chains, and then that's blocking a lot of your window. Like I said, there could be a small pothole, there could be a small something in the road, and that might just be blocking it. You don't know when that's going to line up, when the gods are going to line up against you. So get that out of your windows. You won't have to worry about anything. I recommend hanging it, make sure it hangs freely, but I recommend there's plenty of other spots behind the seat. There's usually tabs, and that's where I have mine. It hangs freely. It's behind the passenger seat, and it's not all swinging and all smelly in my face. So find somewhere else to put it. There's no big deal. It doesn't say on the package, must hang on the mirror. It doesn't even say that at all. But people do that, and we got to get away from that, so please don't do that. And number 5, last but not least, is cleanliness. You want to have a clean vehicle. It makes you feel better. It makes the trip fun, and it makes it safe. So wash the outside, give it a good wash. Make sure you wash the outside of the windows. That's pretty simple. But don't forget to clean the inside. Get rid of the clutter. Get rid of all the empty McDonald's bags and all the toys on the floor. Get rid of all the clutter, the books. Get rid of the backpack. Vacuum and wipe down the dashboard and everything. I use a Windex. I believe it's less cracking. If you use Armor All, it seals in moisture and it ends up cracking over years. So I use Windex. It works really good. Sanitizes, smells good, cleans good, and it shines. So wipe that down, and don't forget to clean the inside of your windows. They get greasy, especially for smokers. But even if you don't smoke, your breath and stuff has got that moisture and the dirt, and your windows start to get filmy and greasy, and it's very difficult to see out that windshield. I've seen cars that went about 5 years with a heavy smoker, and they never cleaned the inside of that windshield. You couldn't even see out, especially in the dark. It was so thick, very safety hazard. You don't want that, so make sure you clean the inside of your windows. You're going to feel good. Everything's going to be good. Get an air freshener. You know where to hang it now. Everything's going to smell good, and that's going to make you relaxed, because a dirty and cluttered car creates anxiety, and anxiety creates anxious driving, and anxious driving is not relaxed driving. And our goal here at Holy Driver is to be as relaxed as possible and have as much fun as possible. So a clean car, no anxiety, that's the way to start, all right? And that's pretty much it, guys. There's only one last thing, and that is, don't forget to buckle up. A lot of states it's a law, but you feel better. It's a habit for me. Buckle up, you feel better. It's legal, and you're really safe because they really do work well. Even if you have airbags, you want your seatbelt, so just buckle up. And also make sure your kids, if you have kids, are strapped in their car seats in the back. Make sure they're strapped and buckled in, because the last thing you want is to get in an accident. Because if you're going 60 miles an hour and the car that you're going to hit is going 60 miles an hour, that's now 120 miles an hour. So if your kid's not buckled in, they will come flying past you at 120 miles an hour. That's not something you want to see. So make sure everybody's buckled in, your car's clean, all the lights are working, and now you're going to learn a lot more tips and everything. So driving's going to get fun, and it's going to get more relaxing, I promise. So that's it for today. I really appreciate you guys watching, and see you guys next time.